Good morning, everybody. We have a rare sunny day. It's supposed to be raining in a couple days, so we're going to enjoy this one and get some of the work done in the sun that we can't do in the rain. And the first thing I'm going to be doing is clearing off the roof of pine needles. I do this every year. It's just a necessary thing, and then I use those pine needles around the island. If you leave them, then the roof will just turn into a sod roof, basically. It will start growing all kind of things up there, and it just doesn't look very nice. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Hey, Lando. Hi. Hi there. Well, guys, so now that the roof is cleared off and dried up, I'm going to start collecting all the pine needles that came off of it, because we've been having a really okay, Linda, we've been having a really wet early spring here with lots of rain. So part of the island is flooded right off, you know, the cabin here. There's a huge puddle and the water is really high. I'm not expecting it to stay high for very long, because usually around this time they'll take a log out of the dam and it will go back to normal. But right now it is about a foot higher than it usually is. This is actually one of the highest I've ever seen it. So all the paths on the island are muddy and hard to walk on. So I'm going to take these pine needles and kind of scatter them along just to make it a little bit firmer ground to walk on, which obviously makes it nicer for walking right now, but also once the ground dries up and hardens, there's not going to be all these deep footholds and stuff on the trail for the rest of the summer. I'll also be using some of these pine needles to cover up that burn pile that we burned a while ago, if you guys remember that. And whatever's left over, I'll just kind of sprinkle around any muddier spots to make it look nice. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. And there's a lot of this. You never really notice when you're looking up at your roof how much is actually up there, because you think it's just going to be this thin little layer. But as you guys saw, once I started brushing all of that off, there's actually a lot. And if you leave that, then it'll just start growing moss and all these different things, turning into soil, and your roof will just keep getting heavier and heavier, and it's more likely to rot and rust. So it's always good to clean it off at least once a year, but more than that if you can. You're good at spreading these.
Lie down now. Go to sleep.
Wow, those are some heavy chairs. Pretty hard to move around with just one guy, but it's nice to have them out here so I can sit on the porch and watch the sunrises again. I'm gonna get a little drill bit that I can drill a hole into the back of these. I did it last year, but it was just with the normal drill and the hole was a bit too small. And the reason I do that is because the way these are shaped, they can pool up with water, and since they're wood, that will cause them to rot, or at least look a lot worse. So if I add a little hole in the back, then the water will be able to flow out and these will last a lot longer. Last year I sanded them down and shellacked them, which has kept them nice and clean and preserved them from rotting a lot better, so they look really good. Alright, so here you can see I've got two new pieces that we're going to be adding to the chimney just to make it safer and a lot better. This is a little T-piece that will be going on the outside where that one elbow piece is, because how it is now, if it rains really hard and there's not a fire going on in the chimney, then some water will go inside and it'll just run all the way down and into the cabin where it'll leak out of the pipes. And I'm assuming that's why the old one rusted the way it did so severely and just crumbled apart, was because that's what was going on. And since nobody was really in here for a long period of time, it would have just been filling up with water and rusting. So this will go on the outside, this will go onto the pipe that's coming out of the cabin, and then this will go to the top of the chimney. And on the bottom here, you see there's a little extra joint with this cap that can come off, and that's used for letting the rain run out, first of all, if any rain does end up going down the pipe, and then also to help be able to clean it later on. So I'm going to be mounting these today, and then also we have just this little decorative piece that will go over the inside pipe, the main straight one coming out of the wall, and this will just slide to the back and it'll cover where the pipe goes through the wall and out, so that it just looks a lot nicer and cleaner. You're not seeing the pipe and the rope and everything. So yeah, this it probably shouldn't be too hard. Like, all the main installments have been done, so we'll just have to take off the top piece of the chimney, set it down on the roof, and then exchange the elbow bracket for this. And then on the inside, I'll just disconnect the elbow that goes towards the wall and then slide this on. And it's a good thing that I hadn't screwed in any of the bolts that will hold this all together very firmly before I got all these pieces. And the reason I didn't do that, as you guys might have noticed, is so then I can make adjustments like this. And now that I have these pieces, I'll put them on, get all snug, make sure it's level, and then screw in the little bolts that hold all the pipes firmly together, and it will be permanently mounted there. So I'm looking forward to getting all this done. Well, that looks a lot better. I'm going to leave the pipe how it is now. It's not in its proper position or leveled out yet, but I'm going to wait until we install the T-piece and get the outside all set up to get the leveler and make sure everything's good, and then screw it down. Because if I were to do that now, or at least set this up and not screw it, and then work outside jiggling the top pipe, this will all get thrown out of balance anyway. So once we get the other piece going, then I'll permanently mount this, and the chimney project will officially be done, which I'm really excited for, just to have it and not really have to worry about it anymore. Well, it's great to have that done. Just gives me the peace of mind, and also not having water running down into my stove when I'm trying to have a fire is a great thing to know. So This is the old elbow piece. As you can see, it's already covered in soot and water because we've had rain a lot, like I mentioned, and it just comes pouring through. So how it was previously set up, if water snuck in through the top, it would just run down the pipe through the elbow and then down into the stove. With a new piece, it's got a bottom here with a cap, and the water will run down and filter out instead of going and around. And then also you can take off the cap and clean it a lot easier. It's just a much better system. So it's nice to have that done. And that's another thing we can check off the list. All right, guys, so I got the pipe in the perfect position. It's all level and exactly where it should be. I actually went on ahead and used some of these self-tapping screws on either end and forgot to turn on the camera, which is a pretty big rookie mistake. I thought I'd be beyond that by now, but what I did is before I screwed these in, I also took the opportunity to take this pipe apart and turn it so that the seams are facing back, so then you get a really just smooth look before they're kind of on the side here. So the seams of the pipe are facing backwards all the way along, and then like I said, I put one screw on each side, top and bottom in this case, and the whole thing is really nice put together, and the chimney install is complete now. One thing I'm going to do just for my own sake is, since these are silver screws, I'm going to go with a little bit of stove paste and just kind of cover over them, which will turn them black and the whole thing will just look a lot sleeker. And I'll also use a bit of that up here on the pipe where when we were putting on this little backrest, it kind of scraped a little bit. So I'll put that stove paste on there just to make it all look brand new. But yeah, it's really nice to have the stove completely finished. There's nothing more I need to do on it, and now I can just enjoy my stove for many years to come. Some of you guys were asking what the stove paste I was using is, and it's just Imperial stove polish paste. That's all it says, so the brand is Imperial. And yeah, I mean, it's been working great. Like you saw in one of the earlier videos when I was restoring the stove itself, it can turn a rusty old stove into one that looks brand new, and it doesn't take long at all. It's just a few hour-long project. And then you can also use it on small things like this, which really helps. So you just dab a little bit on. Usually I'd use a cloth for this, but I don't have any, so I'm just using paper towel. But you can just dab it over top of whatever you need. And if it's rusty, as long as you sand it and then put some kind of alcohol rub over top, then just add layers, it'll turn whatever you're trying to turn black. Or, you know, if it's a stove, it will just fully repair it and make it last a lot longer. So I love this stuff. It's not expensive at all. I can't remember the exact price, but for this jar, which was enough for the entire stovepipe, I still got more than half of it left. So you can use it multiple times as well. And depending on how rough your stove is, it will take less. Mine was pretty weathered. And even for little stuff like this, you can see you can fully remove scratches just by applying a little dab of it and rubbing it across, even with just a paper towel. And the whole solution just bakes onto it once you light a fire, and it's non-toxic, so you can do it inside like this. One of you guys commented asking for me to remove the white stickers, which is something I noticed as well. It's just something that bothers me when something's not perfect. And I tried to take them off, as you can see, but it didn't really work. They are pretty well stuck on there, so I think I'm gonna need to get some like Gooby Gone or something to get them off. But they're not a fire hazard or anything, so it's all right for now. Well guys, I think I'm gonna call it a day here. Got a few projects done, just little things, finishing some of the other projects we worked on, and then just spring cleaning. Tomorrow we're gonna get to work on a few other things, but for tonight I'm just gonna enjoy the sunset that looks like it's gonna be a beautiful one, and maybe cast a line. It's probably a bit early for that, but the main reason you go fishing is just to relax anyways, so it doesn't really matter if there's fish or not. All right, everybody. Well, I didn't end up catching anything. Like I said, it's a little bit early in the season, but we're coming up to that time of the year pretty fast here. Along with the mosquitoes, the bass are also going to be coming out within the next month or so, and I'm looking forward to the bass, not really the mosquitoes. Although if it's anything like last year, it's going to be not too big of a problem. It just depends on how wet you know, May and June are, and based off of how the rain's been going recently, might be more mosquitoes than last year, but we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to getting a lot more fishing done when that time arrives, but for now I'm just going to keep working on the cabin. We got a few things done today, and next time we're going to be working on some shelves for the kitchen cabinets, as well as a bookshelf probably, or maybe sanding down and kind of fixing up this back wooden board here, as well as another project that I've been wanting to do for a while is lowering this table. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it, but I'll figure it out by the time I see you guys again. Lower this down so then I can actually fit a chair, because right now it's really high where even a bench doesn't really work very well, like a stool. So I'm going to lower that down and probably put my editing station there, just so I can really work on making these videos as good as possible. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to film. Just spending time in a sunny day was really nice. And as always, a special thank you to those of you who have subscribed to my Patreon channel. Your support really means a lot, and it helps me to be able to keep doing what I love doing and making these videos. If you guys are interested in learning more about my Patreon channel, there'll be a link in the description as well as on my YouTube channel. So yeah, you can check it out there. And as always, I will see you guys next week.